Well, the NCAA picked up what on the surface looks like a win in court, but actually is an L. It is definitely an L coming soon for the NCAA. Welcome into the channel. I am John Kurtz. Here on this channel, we talk college athletics, college football, college basketball, and conference realignment, all from a Big 12 angle. Please consider subscribing if you have not. Live shows Wednesdays and Sundays, they are a blast. Make sure you get in there for that. We've got fans from all conferences in there all the time, talking all things conference realignment and college athletics. Please like the video if you could. I would much appreciate that. Leave a comment in the comment section as well. What do you think of the NCAA here at this point? Are they totally screwed? Let me know in the comments. All that stuff is great, really helps, and you can support the channel on Venmo at John-Kurtz-4. You're going to see headlines about this story regarding the lawsuit that is going on with the attorneys general in Tennessee and Virginia. This is about NIL. And it's going to sound like, hey, this was actually a loss for them. The judge ruled in favor of the NCAA, which in a temporary setting, on a temporary basis, the judge did rule against Tennessee and Virginia and ruled for the NCAA. But there is a footnote in the explanation, not literally a footnote, but something that could get easily overlooked in the explanation that actually tells you this is going to be a big loss for the NCAA. It's just a matter of time. So let's get right into it. I'm going to read to you the story from On3. A federal judge in Tennessee denied a temporary restraining order Tuesday that would allow high school prospects and transfer portal players in 2 states to communicate with NIL collectives during their recruitment. So it would allow them to just communicate directly with the NIL collectives instead of having to do whatever hoop jumping the NCAA is requiring right now, where it can't directly be an inducement. We all know these rules are pretty silly at this point based on how everyone is operating, but the NCAA has cherry-picked a couple of cases. On3 did give you a reminder of what that is. The NCAA's search at Tennessee centers around the use of a private plane to fly Tennessee quarterback Nico. I never get that last name. Tennessee star quarterback recruit. They flew him around on a private plane in Knoxville while he was a recruit, with funds for the plane raised by boosters. That's what this is all about. The NCAA has cherry-picked a case here, a case at Florida State, et cetera, just a couple of them to try to go after some of these collectives in some weird flex of their power here at this point, when everybody knows that they are pretty toothless and losing teeth by the day as far as that goes. Judge Clifton L. Corker ruled in favor of the NCAA in the Eastern District of Tennessee after attorneys general in Tennessee and Virginia filed an antitrust lawsuit last Wednesday. The decision comes a day before National Signing Day. In Corker's decision, the judge states Tennessee and Virginia, quote, failed to demonstrate at this juncture the requisite irreparable harm for the issuance of a TRO. Well, the TRO, temporary restraining order, has been denied. Corker also notes, and this is the important part, Corker also notes in his decision that the 2 states' merits are likely to succeed. A preliminary injunction hearing is set for Tuesday, February 13th. And here is the quote. This is the money quote. Considering the evidence currently before the court, plaintiffs are likely to succeed on the merits of their claim under the Sherman Act, the judge writes. So he's saying, look, you guys are probably going to win this lawsuit. I just can't grant you this temporary restraining order, which would, if that would have gone through, right, layman's terms, if a temporary restraining order goes through on this based on what they are trying to sue the NCAA for here, it would immediately mean no NIL rules in Tennessee and Virginia. And other states could then follow up on the same type of lawsuit and try and get in the same position. May have had a mad rush to do that if this were to have happened. It did not. So very much still could be the ruling ultimately, and the judge is saying that likely will be the ruling ultimately, that the NCAA is not allowed to do this. But at least for right now, it's not crazy enough for a temporary restraining order. There's not a need for him to put a temporary restraining order in on what the NCAA is doing. So you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer is the answer, but it is probably going to happen, and then we'll open more floodgates on NIL, which the NCAA, I think we'll get to it later, said that would be invited chaos if that were to happen. A key reason why the TRO was not granted is that, well, athletes are not able to obtain their true NIL value. The harm is monetary damages and not irreparable. So, hey, it's just money, not like lives are in danger here. And it is something that could be recouped. They're still going to be able to find a way to make money eventually here, especially if, I suppose, he surmises that this case is going to go the way of Virginia and Tennessee anyway. This all comes in the wake of the NCAA launching an investigation into Tennessee athletics last week for alleged multiple NIL violations. Attorneys general in Tennessee and Virginia filed the antitrust lawsuit last Wednesday with a request for a TRO before Tuesday. So they perhaps got a little bit greedy here. Just didn't get the icing on the cake, but the cake probably still going to be there. The ruling would have only impacted athletes in Tennessee and Virginia. More states could potentially join the lawsuit in the coming weeks. The NCAA and attorneys general traded barbs over the weekend in response to each other. Now, you got to love this. The NCAA trading some public shots here in the response to each other. The NCAA said lifting the NIL ban on recruiting, quote, invited chaos. I mean, I would love to know what they think things are like right now, even with their boundaries, guardrails, whatever you want to call them in place right now. I don't know that it's going to get much more chaotic than that. And the NCAA has been inviting chaos for decades by not budging an inch on amateurism at all, which has led to the current environment that we are in. While Tennessee and Virginia argued the body's rules are impenetrable, shifting, and vague. And it's hard to disagree with them at all. I mean, even if you don't like Tennessee, impenetrable, shifting, and vague, certainly the shifting and vague part, that's absolutely where we stand on NIL. Everything is shifting and very, very vague. All of this comes as the NCAA starts to show its teeth and govern the NIL landscape. I mean, try to govern the NIL landscape. The NCAA recently levied sanctions on Florida State and is also investigating Florida for the Jaden Rashada saga. Both are cases allegedly involving recruiting infractions involving NIL collectives. Back to the cherry picking thing. There are a couple of those cases there. The court mentioning the plaintiffs have displayed the merits of their claim under the Sherman Act is crucial. All right, so this is more on why I said NCAA really has lost here. In the case laid out by Tennessee and Virginia, the attorneys general were able to display that the NCAA rules impose a restraint on competition in the relevant market. Corker also writes in his decision that, quote, there is sufficient evidence that the NCAA's NIL recruiting ban likely harms competition. And here's a quote from a Boise State sports law professor. His name is Sam Ehrlich. I actually think that part of it is kind of obvious. He said, I think for the majority of the antitrust cases involving the NCAA, it's been really clear that the NCAA rules restrict competition. What the NCAA goes toward is the pro-competitive justifications. It's definitely not a good thing for the court to be looking at it, looking for it like that, because that's a balancing test. I think the AGs of Tennessee and Virginia, they didn't get the TRO, but they're pretty confident. So not a complete home run grand slam, but still probably something that is going to go the way of Tennessee and UVA. So stay tuned, because right now things are changing at a rapid pace. Obviously, we have the news of the alliance. Don't call it an alliance between the SEC and the Big Ten. They are fighting very hard not to have it called an alliance right now. But you have them joining up. You have Florida State fighting to get out of the ACC. We have a lot of storylines going on. The college football playoff battle, which still has not been solved. And make sure you tune in for the live show tonight at 8:15 Central Time to get all up to date on that. We will be covering everything happening right now and what has picked up is a really crazy time in college athletics. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you have not. Click that bell so you get alerts. You know when it is I'm going live. If you could like the video, very, very much appreciated. If you do, helps me a lot on the channel. Leave a comment in the comment section. Is the NCAA screwed? Where are we going to be at in 3 years, 5 years with the framework of all of this stuff right now? Let me know what you think in the comments. Your thoughts are always welcome here, and you can support the channel on Venmo at John-Kurtz-4. Appreciate all of you for being here. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.